Greetings, everyone. This evening we are joining the rest of the field for the main event here for the Morrow Bay 150 at Fontana. Alongside me in the booth, none other than James.
Hi, everybody.
And from our duels today, yesterday, it's been a day already, the front row being that of Chris Hergeson and Chaz Chadwick. Newcomer Bradley Ream and David Bird, who has some resurgence here, starting in the top 5. Tim Hansen and Ant Meperson. Al Bunch and Trevor Walker. The 2 part-time entries of Adam Starr and Monty Shangle. Matthew Fastnot and Jordan Walker. Jack Davis and Max Veers. Atlee Weiss and Maggie Reams. And I'll go ahead and hand it over to James for the second half of the field here.
Next up, we have Brian DeBlanc in the next row, behind Morgan and DeBlanc. We have Krista Cower and Paula Ladino. Next row back is Jack Ross and Mike Bliss Jr. Starting behind them is Josh Brinker and Anthony Moger. Next row back is Logan Rodriguez and is it Jack King?
James King.
James King, sorry.
Yeah, a couple of them I'll mention, just John Brinker and Andrew Moger, but you're not the names get kind of crossed together after a while.
And then starting next row back behind them is Avery Farrell and Charlie Chippington. Next row back is you want to give me the last name, first name there, Jacob?
Skylark Chips. And
starting on his outside is Tayden Bergeron. Next row back is Tim Cording and Chris Pocris. Is that what it was?
Craig.
Sorry. Behind them was it Rowdy Bush?
Revan Bush.
Revan Bush, that's it.
Yep, and you haven't seen many of these drivers yet at all.
Yeah, no. I think I'm going to let you take from 34th on back.
The 28 of Tyler Disharoon, who had run in the Bush Series last season, coming down to the trucks here in a Toyota Tundra Xbox Series X truck. Dave Steele's making his maiden voyage into his first season of the trucks, alongside Philip Leeds. And Nate Gonzalez pushed his way through in the second duel, allowing himself to make it to the main event here. Jessica Hergeson just barely made it in on the skin of her teeth there. And we did have some drama in duel number 1, where Gannon Bird here wound up wrecking the Navy truck of Cannon Gage. He makes it into his first ever Truck Series start here, alongside Zach Armstrong. And then we've got the James Robert and Colton Smith at the very back here. So I have a feeling we're going to see a little bit of dominance here, perhaps from Chadwick, being one of the most dominant drivers in 2022. He's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, definitely going to be a little hard to beat him. He was pretty dominant during the entire 22 season.
Just wanted to make sure it was recording. You never know. I was afraid if we had done all that for nothing, but we're good.
Oh yeah, I got you loud clear there.
Rocking and rolling here.
It's going to be fun to see Bradley Ream in his first start in the USA Truck Series. The highest position rookie in the field here.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it was kind of a very impressive showing from a lot of the rookies and people who joined really late in the season last year.
Off to the early lead, of course, none other than Chaz Chadwick in that Cadbury purple. Really nice
Looks like Tim
looking.
Cording wasting no time as well.
Bradley Ream slots himself into second there. Pair of Dodge Rams running 1-2 start this race. Another Dodge Ram on the charge. You got Adam Starr there in third. Matthew Fastnot peeking out on the inside. Oh, there's a little bit of...
That was an impressive save by both of those drivers.
Do a quick replay on that one. So Adam Starr gets stuck in the center lane there. And just barely makes contact there with the 9 of Tim Hansen. They slide. Ooh, Tim Hansen just barely kisses the wall there, as it looks like they're about 5 wide below him. But they keep going, and for very little on the wear there, it looks like, for the 9 truck. Like you said, yeah.
9 truck definitely got the short end of the stick on that one.
Like you said earlier there, Tim Cording's wasting no time trying to dash his way to the front.
Looks like everybody's staying spread out. Maybe they finally learned something from the Cup duels and the truck duels here. Oh, and just as I say that, we have a massive wreck.
The race back to the line here. It looks like Chadwick's going to be fighting to hold off Jack Davis here for leading under the caution. Yeah, it's going to be Jack Davis second, Bradley Reams third. Now we're going to have to see just who was all involved in this wreck. So, the 113 of Skylark Chips. Oh, the 14 and the 9 made contact again. Maybe that was some payback.
No, because it was the 14 that turned the 9. If it was the other way around, I'd be inclined to believe, to agree with you, but considering it was the 14 that turned the 9 of Tim Hansen.
Yeah, they just could not keep themselves apart from each other. 4 wide there. And
yeah, you see the 14 on the outside there.
Tim Hansen looks like he's going to start to crowd him a little bit. I guess the reason why I thought was retaliation was the fact that the 14 ran the 9 into the wall. 14's right up against the wall, so Tim Hansen's giving him as much as he bargained for, but man, you never know. There could be just a racing situation there. 01 of Max Veers, Chips. Ooh, Al Bunch gets into it. The 79, the 59, and the 27 were later collateral of that wreck.
Big hit to the back of the... I think that's Chippington?
And then the 54 there of Revan Bush.
Oh, wow, he went for the longest ride of everybody.
There wasn't much places for him to avoid this as the 59 came back out on the track. Oh, the 96 of David Bird, that's unfortunate. He had a good start and he was all the way at the back of the field. And his day's probably done as he's smoking along after that wreck. We'll try to watch from one more angle here. Man, that's the big one if ever I've seen a big one here at Fontana. Yeah, Tim Hansen must have just been a little bit rattled with the 14 from previous contact that he just ran him up as far into the wall as he could. And the 14 was not clear to come back down onto him. That's at least my collection of it. You can't blame a driver for doing anything. That's all behind the wheel on them. So, dang, that's a lot of carnage.
That's a lot of carnage, and you got to feel bad for the 137. He was down way on the bottom, just minding his business. He was being as far away as possible from the rest of the pack coming into the corner, and he just got collected.
You talking about the 113 or the 187?
Oh yeah, 13. Sorry.
Yep, 113. So it looks like we'll probably skip ahead through the pit stops there. I don't know if anyone pitted, but the remaining top of the field still stays the same. Bradley Ream in third, Maggie Reams in fourth, so there's a little bit of change here towards the back end of the front field. Jack Ross, Krista Cower, Matthew Fastnot, Ryan DeBlank in his first ever start. Not too bad, top 10 so far. Oh, Tim Cordings cracked his way into the top 10. Aunt Me person, so there we go. We got 3 of our top contenders from last year moving their way to the front.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the top 10 is good majority. Wow, that is a lot.
That one
That
claimed
is a lot.
a lot of victims for sure.
What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drivers.
Yeah, so the 9 drivers out include the 54 of Revan Bush, the 38 of Monty Shangle, the 96 of David Bird, the 59 of Gannon Bird, the 113 of Skylark Chips, the 41 of James King, the 01 of Max Veers, the 9 of Tim Hansen, and the 27 of Philip Leeds. One thing
Doubled up for the restart here.
to note is the fact that the 14 truck's still out there. So Adam Starr is not retired yet. Probably has some damage though.
Do you want to pull that up again real quick for me? Want to make sure I'm getting my people right here. Okay, you can go ahead and pull that down.
So the green waves again, and we're back to racing on lap 8 here. Wow, they're going to try to make it 4 wide for the lead. 4 wide.
Ooh. I'll make my point after we get through this here. That looked dodgy for a minute.
They are still fighting very hard for that lead position on lap 8 here. There's no reason for it, but seems like Matthew Fastnot's going to come out on top of that battle for position.
I feel like this kind of risky business is exactly what kind of got Chadwick in trouble late in last season.
Definitely, yeah. He put himself in more risky situations, and I think that's just the product of the truck series here. It's going to be a true championship to determine who's going to be the winner this year.
Now that they seem to have started to calm down, I'll make my point now. Major beneficiaries during that caution that took out all those cars, the 38 of Monty Shangle and the 54 of Revan Bush managed to just squeak themselves into the top 35.
Oh, true. Yeah, that is a huge battle that'll be valuable for next week's race. Those drivers will be locked in for without having to qualify their way into the main event. So, very good note there.
I know we're all seeing it, and I know we're all thinking it, but from 31st to 3rd right now,
Tim Cording is going to be on a rail here tonight, it looks like some of the other drivers were in the duels the other night.
you've really got to think he's just hoping that he doesn't get picked off by the same thing that's been happening to him.
Definitely, yeah. It's if you got bad luck, you don't have any luck at all. You're gonna have bad luck or good luck. It seems like Tim Cording gets his fair share of bad luck throughout the seasons.
5 wide just behind him, almost 6, I think.
The racing in the back so intense that the frame rate's dropping on the broadcast here. Looks like Al Bunch is running at the back of the field right now. Yep, there we go. Adam Starr with his severely
Extremely
damaged.
Extremely torn up. Tops number 14. I believe that was what was that? A Ram, a Dodge.
Yeah, no, you can actually see the radiator and how damaged it is.
Kind of a surprise that the one, I believe it's the one, right? That's behind him?
The
at the
08,
moment?
the 08 truck of,
Yes.
yep, Al Bunch.
You got to be a little surprised that Al Bunch is running behind him when
Yeah, how clean his truck looks.
His car looks way more clean.
Turned a 42.448. And compare that to the leaders that are turning a 40.7. So there must have been some extracurricular damage that he received that's not visible.
Brian DeBlanc has fallen way back there.
Oh, and just like that, we were on the camera at the right situation for another wreck.
The 46 of...
That's Craig Popcrass in the Rowdy Bush entry. Yep. Looks like a solo spinner there. We didn't have anyone else that got gathered up in this one.
I think they got gathered up, but they just didn't spin. Looks like Popcrass just came up on the 34 of Farrell.
Yep, he just ran out of room there, and 34 might have got a little bit of damage there. 61.
I was just about to say, I kind of want to go on board with Brian DeBlanc through that one, because that was close.
As you can see there, the 46 is starting to meander to the top of the track. They're running out of space, and bam. 61, his smoke, all he sees right there. He was able to lift and get around without any major problems. 79 truck looked like he kissed the wall there too. So, yeah, just a single spinner there. Ooh. Pit stops.
You picked a bad time to go to the camera there.
Well,
looks like they may have already pit.
Wow, the lead had simply changed that drastically from when the caution dropped. just now Craig Popgrass is spinning out, and this is the fight for the lead, so our front of the field looks way different than what it was. We definitely missed that one. When we're looking at the back of the field, this was happening in the meantime. And Taden Berggren leads going to the caution flag there. With as many laps, I don't know if they're gonna pit.
Bergeron came from 30th, and Disharoon 34th.
Dang. Well, and even Jessica Hergeson there, she came from
37th. Correction. 37th.
Jack Ross is one of the higher qualified drivers running fourth. He started in 21st. And then Tim Cording too. He's still picking them off one by one.
I'd just like to point out, look at that 5th, 6th, and 7th right there.
Yeah, our three perennial contenders for the championship last year.
I believe we might not be live on the cameras. Oh,
yep,
okay.
Yep,
didn't see it go back. That's my bad.
One of the challenges we're facing right now with the recording, we don't have the ticker running across the top, so we're kind of giving you the play-by-play from the seat of our pants here.
But why is it that those three always manage to find their way together?
Yeah, it's they kind of banded together for sure. And maybe it has something to do with experience in the series that they're all on the same strategy here. You might have these rookies, or these the guys in front of them might be on a strategy that's less favorable. I get the feeling that the 50, the 10, and the 18 there know that their strategy might not be putting them in the lead for every lap, but it's setting them up to lead when it matters most towards the end of it.
Well, I mean, even Jack Ross has run up with these three fairly consistently. I mean, give me just a moment. Started 22 races last year, managed 1 win and 2 top 5s and 8 top 10s. So he's pretty familiar with running with these three.
Totally. Jack Ross has kind of been the one that's kind of under the radar, but definitely you don't want to trifle with because he could go out there and win just about any given week. He's got a good power plan under that Ford F-150 there. One thing that really stood out from last year is the fact that Chevy never won a single race. That is mind-blowingly crazy. Especially,
and now they got Taden Bergeron leading the start of the new season. Are we looking at, is this foreshadowing?
Perhaps. Well, and Chevy's going to have more contenders this year for sure than what they had last year. Craig Popcrest is a new entry in the series that'll be piloting Chevy. Colton Smith returning.
I know it's still early, but you gotta wonder if some of these some of the full-time drivers left in the field are thinking, okay, I'm in the top 35 for sure. Do they just throw caution to the wind and go for it 110% the whole race, or do they still try to ride it out and try to see what happens?
Well, I think with that, you're definitely going to want to finish at least 15th versus 30th. You could still fall back as far as 30th. 30th would still put you in a bind if you fall and have a bad second race too. So, especially with the the ones that are wrecked out already, I think they're going to push just as hard as they can to win even harder. Restart coming here. Pace truck is in. No, I think we're going to see basically from flag to flag here just insane intensity for the win. We've already seen that between the two duels and then the first segment of this race that everyone's driving like it's the last lap of the race.
Wait, I feel like two drivers in this top 10 right now are really driving to kind of be like, to show like that it was a fluke that they didn't win that championship last year.
Yeah, they got a kind of a chip on their shoulder that they want to start off this season stronger than ever.
Well, because like between the two, between courting and big wreck.
I don't know if
Oh
they're
boy, Chadwick drove right through it.
gonna collect more again, so this will be the Wreckfest 150 before the end of it.
Looks like the 50's got a big, giant dent in that driver's side.
Thinking that's just a glitch in the game, because a couple of them, all the Fords look like they're kind of tweaked right
Dented.
now. Coming to the start-finish line, Nathan Morgan and Dave Steele, followed by Trevor Walker and Atlee Weiss. We're going to have to see exactly what transpired at the back of the field there on
Oh no, DeSharoon.
lap 20.
Wait, DeSharoon wasn't involved. Did
Nope, nope, it just didn't, he hadn't completed his 20th lap. He was still coasting around. This is back to lap 19 before the wreck. And right here you're going to see the 18, like you said, he kind of survived the... So when they come back around to the start-finish line, okay, so yeah, this is going to be our... Maybe it was a little higher up. I think it was the...
I think it starts
They're
right
right
about
there,
here.
right
Yeah,
there.
it starts with a 78.
Yet again, more of the Fontana drift that we get going on, where they lose track of where they're running. The 10. Oh,
Oh,
man.
Jordan Walker and Jack Ross. Talk about a commentator's curse.
I think the hit that Chippington served was probably the hardest.
Yeah, look at that nose. That thing is crumpled.
Man, look at, they're like so packed in there like sardines at the front. The 10 comes back down onto track and bam, just nowhere to go for Chippington there. I do feel like
that truck is toast. That Wendy's Toyota is toast.
Jack Ross might have survived extreme damage here. He did get cuffed into the wall.
It seems like whoever gets pushed into that wall on the outside seems to manage to survive.
Oh, that was a hard hit there by the 10, though. That might have given him some extra damage that's going to be detrimental to that truck.
Another one of our sort of veterans, Taden Bergeron, involved as well.
Still not looking good for those Chevys to get a win here.
No.
Oh, and we got more retirements from that one. So to follow, we got Aiden Bergeron, Tyler Disharoon, and Charlie Chippington out of the race.
Do you think they look at the silver lining right now? I hate to drudge it back up again, but these guys are full-time guys. Do they sort of go, well, that sucks, but at least I'm locked in next week?
At this point, the amount of wrecks that we're seeing, it would be smart for him to lay off and just chill for 50 laps of the race here, as we only have 50 laps left to go. But we'll have to see. It's not like their crew chiefs, I don't think, are telling them to lay off. They're driving just as hard as I've ever seen in the truck series here.
We are 25 laps in, I believe. At what point do you sort of lay off and kind of let them wreck themselves out and just try to avoid everything?
Well, and if, like in the first duel, if that's any indicator, we should have a, long green flag run now, because the first duel we saw wrecked about half the field, and then they went back to racing like nothing ever happened. So the less trucks out on track, the better that this could, potentially, lessen the amount of cautions we see going forward. I do feel there is a case for the veterans in the series, as some of them have been able to stay out of these wrecks. Drivers like Nathan Morgan, Trevor Walker, Atlee Weiss. Give it up for Zach Armstrong there in fifth as well, who usually was finding himself in those wrecks last year. Maybe learned from his mistakes of 2022 and is trying to turn that around. Andrew Moger.
I'd just like to highlight one driver that seems to have been extremely roughed up. Nate Gonzalez in the 83. His truck is in rough shape.
But he's still running, and he's still picking off people left and right when they drop like flies during those wrecks.
Yeah.
These double foul restarts, it's pretty big, factor in the series too. Implemented late into the series last year. Actually, I don't even know if we had an official points paying race with double foul restarts in the 2022 truck series, but that definitely is a game changer on how hard and aggressive these guys race on the restarts. So we're going to try it again here. Maybe we can get a couple more green laps than last run. Yeah, Chevy curse, it might live on again this year, at least for this race. I don't see a Chevy in contention amongst the top 10 there.
Say it's almost a curse. It might be.
Dodge is looking strong as ever up front. Ford's looking just solid as they always do.
Oh boy, 3 wide again. Multiple rows back.
Ooh, Moger is fighting a little bit of a grip. Oh, whoa, there was a little bit of contact
Big
there.
shove by Steele into Chadwick there.
Oh, no.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh, they are.
Oh, we got one flipping.
We got a flipper. This is going to be a long analysis on that one. So the ones that survive it here, running in the top 10. Ant Meeperson and Krista Coward charging to the front here. Ant might try to make a pass to take the lead, running back to the end of the caution. No, Tim Cording made it 3 wide at the finish line there. Oofty.
Jordan Walker again.
And there's so many tore up trucks. That happening as far at the front as it did.
I
Man,
think he
that's
might
gonna
have been the
be
one that was flipping there.
oofty.
No, the 79. That's the 79 of James Roberts. And the 68 of Zach Armstrong as well.
Serious case of ARCA brakes that just happened
Oh,
there.
boy.
I can see the sparks and the smoke in that one. Sadly, more Chevys were taken out in this
Melee.
destructive, yeah. It looks like Armstrong and Moger just got loose there. That one wasn't, up into the wall like the other wrecks we've seen tonight.
No. Man, that's a rough ride.
And I was just giving Zach Armstrong credit for his struggles last year. This was what was happening to him all throughout 2022. And starting off 2023, unfortunately, in the wrong side of things here. We'll put the in-car cam on that 79 truck as well.
I was thinking the 68 or the 79. Because both of them went for crazy tumbles there.
There's Chadwick. I wonder if he made it through pretty much unscathed.
He did.
Damn.
Big hit to the back of Brian DeBlanc. Oh, wow.
We're lucky that we can, in NR 2003, show these in-car cams without it cutting to static, Think about that. In a real-life wreck like that, that camera would have died on impact. Let's just get to the bottom of how this all started. Our viewers are going to need... it was more of the same, just earlier in the turn, right on the front straight where that one happened. Oofty. Yeah, Armstrong and Moger. Saves of the day for the 40, the 18, and oofty, the 78 even made it
14,
through.
too.
The 78 of John Brinker. It's right on his in cam. Cuts it deep down into the turn here. Wow.
Looks like he did get just a little bit of that, but kept it going straight.
And then for one final, we'll go to Zach Armstrong.
This is the cam I want to see. Because Zach Armstrong went for a ride.
Dang, look at that.
Oh. 2 cars skating on top of him.
Such a bummer deal for him.
Yeah.
So, we add to the retirements a little bit more as the 61 of DeBlanc, the 09 of Fastnot, the 68 of Armstrong, and the 79 of James Robert now also added to the retirement list.
I believe the 46 and the 10 were also added.
Oh, yes. Popcrass was part of that wreck, so the 28, the 187, 43, the 10 of Jordan Walker, and so yeah, we only have 24 trucks left running right now. And Ant Meat Person currently your leader. Aunt Me Person can be our only contender out there who could go back-to-back season opening wins. He won the season opener in 2022 at the 8 Ball racetrack.
Hey, Jacob,
Yeah,
I'd just like to point out the 83 of Nate Gonzalez is in the top 10 right now.
jeez. And these cars are going to be greatly slower than the rest of them. Man, this restart's going to be something else.
Jack Ross back in the top 10 as well.
His truck looking very rough for the wear as well. The only ones that are very clean at the front is, Aunt Me Person, Jack Davis.
Tim Cording hasn't been involved in anything yet.
Bradley Ream hasn't put any tires in the wrong direction yet. He's kept it pretty much clear of trouble. Now we're back down to the size of a duel right here with 24 trucks left running and only about 40 laps to go.
I'll point out also the 14 of Stars in the top 10 as well.
Man, with the amount of trucks that are damaged to the amount, it's about 50-50 right now between the two.
Big hold up on that inside row from the 83 there. I'm just impressed that this 14 car is keeping the draft at all.
Yeah, it's amazing. All these damaged trucks are still, I mean, right there, 1 lap under speed, and they're still within at least 2 seconds of the lead right now.
Here's the big question right now. Are we done?
Probably not. But we're only about 1 or 2 more wrecks away from it not being big of a factor anymore because there's just not enough trucks left out there to wreck.
Aunt Me Person leads the way. The 4 of Ream on the bottom.
Nice. First lead lap for Bradley Ream in competition here in the USA Trucks. We did lose one of our top drivers in that wreck with Jordan Walker, but Tim Cording's still alive, sitting in 3rd. Aunt Me Person in 5th. Look even further back here, see who else. Oh yeah, Chadwick's still alive, running about mid-pack, trying to fight his way through some of the slower traffic.
Mike Bliss Jr. doing a great job tonight.
Well, there's still Chevys in the fight here. Amongst the Chevy camp this year, I'm willing to wager it's going to be between Mike Bliss Jr. and Craig Popchrist to get Chevy their first win. And I can almost
Do you think that... Sorry, go ahead and finish. My bad.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, I almost guarantee you they're going to want, to hold that title. It's going to be a heated rivalry to try and see who could get Chevy their first win.
Do you think... Oh, 5 wide. That's not a good idea, people.
It's hard to think straight when you're seeing all this action on track.
Yeah. Back to what I was about to say. Do you think that one race with TKM gave Mike Bliss Jr. a little bit of a leg up coming into this year? Having that line to be like, hey, what do I need to know about these? What am I missing right now?
Truly, yeah. I mean, manufacturers are one thing, but even just getting track experience out there. For him, any kind of track experience will help him polish his craft out there. He's looking good.
If I remember correctly, and you please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the race that Mike Bliss Jr. ran for TKM, he managed to qualify for the main, but Coring didn't. Correct?
Oh no, that was no, it wasn't Mike Bliss Jr. That would have been, and I can't even remember. No, now I remember who you're talking about. That was the race where they qualified, and without Tim Cording making the event, was able to switch in for that driver to get him into the race. I'm going to do my research here real quick. If you just want to keep the eye on the track and see how the action's going.
Yeah, of course. Got the 4 of Ream and the 8 of... Trying to find them on my paper. Nathan Morgan, Chaz Chadwick pushing his way up to second. Got both Chadwick and Cording into the top 5, running 2nd and 4th right now. Chadwick, the pass for the lead.
Dang, Chadwick.
Oh, we got Chadwick to the lead, and oh boy, that looked like a lot of cars, I'm not going to lie.
No, I'll get back to that later, but it was definitely not Mike Bliss Jr. It was,
Oh boy, that looked like a lot of cars, man.
Oh wow, Maggie and Jessica just oofty.
Oh wow, she just turned right into her.
That's probably the most violent hit I've seen for Atlee. It's a little bit.
That was brutal. She just turned right.
Yeah, she tried to drive it in there a little too hard. Oh, and Atlee just had nowhere to go. They're wrecking again on the bottom of the end.
Atlee couldn't even see it coming.
No. It seems like
that explains why it looked like a lot of cars, because there's awful lot of smoke.
Yeah, the rest of everyone else kind of drove around it, but you can see the 34 in his back window or his mirror there, and then all of a sudden nothing, and then bam. Wow. That's probably going to put an end to Atlee's day right there.
I would very much like to go on board with the 34 if we can.
Well, this race has definitely not failed to excite, as we've had there's a lot of situations going on that's going to be sparking controversy for the rest of the year, it seems. Oh, and she just tried to drive it in there too hard, and
yep.
It's a surprising rookie mistake. It's not, from a non-rookie driver.
Yeah, no.
Oh, look at Chris Hergensen right in her back, the mirror there. That's quite the situation as well.
Yeah, Maggie Ream's definitely no rookie. 25 starts in her career, 2 wins, 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and 3 poles, as well as 3 DNFs last year.
I can only imagine what Chris Hergeson's thinking right here about potentially paying back what happened to his wife in the turn there. I mean, look at it just so happened that the two of them came out on track together on this, and
Yeah, you could tell he dives down pretty deep.
he kind of got right into
You
her
gotta
bumper.
wonder if maybe he was hoping to get a little bit tight.
Class act though. I mean, not deliberately dumping. It was all in racing. I don't think Maggie intended to deliberately wreck her, but the rest of the field may not see it that way at all times. And
Could possibly be a case of maybe that crew chief was gonna let him do it, but then potentially saw our camera angles from it and possibly explained the situation before he got there,
true.
or just as he was getting there.
So this race is slowly working its way through the last half. Lap 42 of 75. Yeah, everyone that's tuning in for this one's going to have a lot to unpack from each and every wreck that we've seen tonight. I can't believe it's as big of a wreck fest. It's kind of a factor of the series having 61 drivers. You're not going to want to finish dead last in this race because that means you're going to have to qualify to get your way in next week. So
Yeah,
I think
but
that's a bit of the aggression here is the fact that there's so many entries in the series.
well, you got to think that these crew chiefs have probably already told the driver, "Hey, we're good. We're good. There's enough drivers out right now that we don't have to worry about next week right now."
I'm just impressed that some of the things, every year things change, but some things stay the same. Chaz Chadwick out front leading laps again, like he's picking up where he left off from last year.
Yeah, that's. You got to look who's right behind him, though.
Yeah, the two other contenders of Ant Me Person and Tim Cording waiting in the wings.
So,
and here's what's interesting too. They're dipping down into the truck series. I mean, they could have retired from full time, but they want that championship.
yeah, all three of them.
They're all in Cup this year, and it just so happens that the championship in trucks last year left them with a sour taste and bad taste in their mouth. They want to go back out there and try to fight for that championship again.
Here we go. What are we coming to? 47?
44.
44. So 6 away from the 2/3 mark.
The green flag waves, and they get back to going here.
Ooh. Rough start by Tim there.
Oofty. We're getting a lot of lag here at the moment. I don't know why.
Looks like Cording gonna gain 2 spots off that one.
There we go. Things kind of settle out here. There we go.
Cording just wanted it to be a little bit more dramatic, Cording getting to the back of Chadwick.
I figured with the less amount of trucks out on field that our frame rate would actually start to buffer in the right direction. Hey, look at that. Mike Bliss Jr. still peeking his way into the top 5.
I'm sorry. I'm just so invested in this battle between Cording and Chadwick. Let's see.
And
Yeah.
just like in any modern, form of motorsports right now, for the win, it would be a lock into the playoffs for any driver here tonight. Given that they start every race, which being, as far up in the points, I think where you want to be tonight is about top 20 in the points. That would be a very safe haven to be, because that means you could have a bad second race and still, not fall out of the top 30. But at least the 35, top 35. If you win
Cording
this,
gets it that lap.
if you win this race tonight, you're going to be sitting pretty solid for the rest of the season, I believe. But you never know. You might get 3 DNFs right after you win this race, and then we're looking at the situation. If you fall out of the top 35 in points, you'll no longer be eligible for the playoffs.
So, Jacob,
What's up?
do you like stats?
Yeah, let's hear them.
So, fun little tidbit for people that are just, getting into the series here. These two at the front right here are separated by 1 win on the all-time trucks list right now.
And how many did Chadwick have?
Chadwick had 2 last year. You want to take a guess at what Cording had last year?
Didn't he have 3?
He did, sir. He is currently tied with...
Was it Guido Piano? Yep, Guido came out and won. Basically, Guido had 1 win to lock his way into the playoffs. And with that, he made it to the round of 6. With 1 race left in the round of 6, he needed a win to move on to the final 3. That was the only way he could qualify. And during that time, the other drivers that were eligible was Jordan Walker and Aunt Me Person. Well, Guido Piano ends up winning the race for the round of 6 at Pocono and knocked out both the drivers, the Jordan Walker and Aunt Me Person, who should have been contending for the championship all together. But yeah, that kind of goes in line with, Tim Cording obviously was one of the best drivers to be in the final 3 last year. And kind of the common factor there, 3 wins. We needed you needed at least a couple wins to be considered for the championship.
So, another little tidbit. Aunt Me Person currently only has 1 win.
And the crazy part about that is it came 26 races ago in the inaugural season opener for the USA Truck Series. So, oofty. Woo! Well, the 40 is still running. Dang, look at the run that
Look
Chadwick.
at the big run Chadwick just had. Wow.
That looked a lot like the dual drafting at Talladega.
Did something break on that? I think is it the 04 or the 40?
No, it was the
In front
40.
of Tim Cord.
That was Jessica Hergeson that was in the wreck on that last caution. So she's still running, even though her truck is significantly damaged and slowed. Maggie Reams spun her out.
That really hurt Tim Cording there.
I think he'll have an opportunity. It looks like we might get our long green flag run here finally. with 23 laps to go. So if anything, Tim Cording might, set back here for a minute, re-rack it, and try to move to the front again.
Question is he going to mount the same kind of run that we saw Chadwick make to get in to the show here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Chadwick's out there leading again, so Chadwick's obviously got the fastest truck here all week. He won his duel and, sitting out front here in this main event tonight. I think you gotta give Bradley Ream credit for the most impressive rookie showing.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Cording slowly making his way past those heavily damaged cars back there.
Bradley Ream wants to take the lead back he led earlier for a brief moment, and he's going to be like, see you later, Chadwick. I want to try to take home victory tonight.
Kind of like, move over, old man. Here comes the new kid on the block.
Chris Ferguson, he won his duel. So both of our duel winners running up front in the race here, which is, I mean, that's just amazing.
Ooh.
To me, it shows that their duels were not some kind of bluff. That's really they're showing their strength here at Fontana today. Yep, look at that. Tim Cording's really reeling them in again.
Yeah, he's slowly making his way through. You really got to think he's hoping that they don't wad up a bunch of cars again. Because he's kind of not in exactly the ideal situation to be driving through that.
Seems that Chadwick's losing a little bit of momentum there, getting stuck on the outside. Yeah, it's crazy. Chris Ferguson and Ant Meeperson both are Cup contenders this year and looking to have a really good showing in their dip down into the Truck Series. And unlike the other, real life NASCAR and whatnot, I do not have stipulations against drivers competing for multiple championships. If they're able to make the schedule work and hit these races, and there could be a dual champion. We could have Ant Meeperson technically win Trucks and Cup this year if it so happened to play out that way. Our current Cup points leader is amazingly enough Guido Piano. So that's impressive because our truck champion, it shows just how important it is to work your way up the ladder. Guido's bringing his prowess to road courses into the Cup. One of the things he didn't get to race much in trucks is second race out in the Sylvania Cup Series. He ended up finishing second, so he's just knocking on the door of a potential win here before you know it.
Do you think that Chadwick and Cording work together to try to get themselves back up to the front?
Potentially. I don't think they've got any ill will towards the others, so why not? And honestly, the faster trucks you got back there amongst the ones, Tim Cording would be smart to team up with the faster truck of. Wow, the lap traffic's gonna really mix it up there. They're able to blow by him without any trouble, though.
Yeah, I really think these two are gonna.
Whoa.
Whoa!
I think Courting
Courting gonna say sorry, Chad, but I gotta go, man.
with so few laps left to go now, we're cracking into the single digits here just in a couple more laps. Is that Atlee Weiss racing for position, or is he a lap down? No, he's a lap down.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure he's a couple laps down.
It's a shame for Al Bunch. He's having a rough start to this season.
Oh my god, the 04 almost again! Oh, Courting gonna do it to himself again.
No, the 04 is the faster truck. The 40 is the one that's slow. Yeah, Courting's going to have to get by and make quick work of Chris Ferguson there if he wants a shot at winning this race. Man, Bradley Ream still out front leading laps in the closing laps here.
We've been green for a while now. I'm starting to get curious if everybody can make it.
Now in 12 laps, I don't know if we're... Yeah, we'll see.
Chadwick looking to get by these two, get back up the Ant Me person.
We could potentially see our top three finishers here was with the, the power ranking top three drivers from last season. Whoa, Chadwick gave Trevor a big bump there.
Yeah, but that's just the kind of driver that Chadwick is this close to the end of a race.
Max aggression, no holds barred. And we have a trio of Dodges leading at the front. 1, 2, 3. Dodge leads the way. And you got another Dodge Ram there behind the Toyota even. Krista Cower with a decent showing. Krista Cower has one of the craziest stats from last year. Never won a race, but she led the most laps of everyone out there.
That is a very interesting statistic to have. Oh, Courting back to the back of him. Not exactly on the most ideal line to get through the traffic, but...
Man, makes a quick work the 8 truck there.
Is Chadwick back leading now, or does he still have one more car to pass up there?
Nope, Chadwick to the lead. And Tim Courting's making it work just in his favor here at the end of the run.
Yeah.
Wow.
Courting gonna try to get both of these spots right here. Gets the one. And gonna put himself P3 as they cross the line.
This is what a championship run is made of, though. I mean, look at the aggression and the meticulous. They've been able to stay out of trouble, and they're running on the barren edge every lap here. And our top 3 drivers are running 1, 2, and 4 right now.
Yeah, I feel like both Chadwick and Courting, and possibly Ant Me person as well, feel very robbed after last year.
Well, and I think I'll make a hot take prediction here. Whereas these drivers only had 2 or 3 wins apiece last year, or even 1 in the case of Ant Me person, I think we're going to see some drivers with 5 to 8 wins amongst our top 3 drivers.
I'd say you might be right, but we are working with new trucks this year, so everybody's got to learn a little bit.
True.
Oh boy, Cording and Chadwick both falling back again.
Plus, it doesn't help having a field of 61 drivers every week that you have to, navigate and negotiate with. Wow. Jack Ross gets out of the way. Good move on his part to let the lead guys by.
I have a
And
feeling Chadwick and Cording both just pushed him around there.
with only 6 laps to go, now is not the time to be holding up the lead traffic. Five to go at the line this time by. And seems that the common denominator here is Dodge.
A couple Fords up there as well. No Chevys to be found, though.
And that's just crazy that Chevy just, it's probably a curse, That
Oh, Chadwick and Cording fighting for that 5th spot right there.
We're going to have some rivalries throughout the season as established in duel number 1. The Army-Navy trucks of Gannon, Bird, and Cannon Gage. Cannon Gage got dumped.
I'd say we have a pretty good had a pretty good rivalry started last year between Cording and Chadwick.
And I think that's going to continue on through this season, too, as we can see here.
Ant-Me person going to the bottom, trying to get that lead.
Ooh, and there's the slow truck.
Oh, no.
They can make it around
Cording
without...
going to let it happen a third time? No.
That might actually help Cording this time around. Bradley Ream out front leading with 3 laps to go now. Yeah, this will be just like duel number 1, where the first half of the race was marred by constant cautions, and then it's going to come to an end here with a long green flag run.
I think we're going to see a first-time winner tonight.
On your stats, could you look up real quick for Nathan Morgan? I don't remember if he won last year.
Nathan Morgan, give me just a second. I can tell you. Nathan Morgan. 1 win, 4 top 5s, 9 top 10s, 3 DNFs, and 2 poles on the season last year.
Okay.
So he's looking to add to that win column.
So Bradley Ream would be our only new winner at the front of the field, and behind him a whole hungry pack of previous winners. 2 laps to go this time by with lap traffic.
Ooh, way wide by Cording. That's going to hurt him a lot.
Now you got to give Tim Cording credit after his dismal start in the Cup Series that this will be a huge plus for him. Oh, the lap traffic of Nate Gonzalez. Woofty. It's going to end up ruining the rest of the race there for Tim Cording. And the white flag's going to wave.
Here we are, white flag.
It's a fight right now between Nathan Morgan and Bradley Ream. But don't count out the 18 truck of Chadwick. Oh, Chadwick. Wow, he's giving it everything he's got.
He's trying to tie Tim Cording right now.
Did you see?
He's not letting it go.
The move by
I did see that.
Bradley Ream as well. Holy cow, he was giving it. Oh, Chadwick's got to run.
Here.
Is he going to pull the same maneuver that he just did a lap?
Yes, he is.
Chadwick.
Yes, he did.
Oh, Bradley Ream's going to hold it on the high side. We're going to have a photo finish at the front.
It's going to be Reams.
Bradley Ream taking home victory.
Chadwick second.
Rookie of the season. rookie on the season. I wouldn't say rookie of the season yet because there's a lot of racing to go, but holding off a
What a finish.
hard charging Chadwick. Wow, and look at that. Who finished 2, 3, and 4? Our top 3
That's
drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Cording comes home 5th. Jack Davis in 7th. Chris Hergeson in 6th. Trevor Walker 8th. Krista Cower with a solid top 10 there. Maggie Reams, even though she wound up wrecking, Jessica Hergeson comes home in 10th. Avery Farrell. A few of the other drivers in the top 15 there. Well, at least Atlee Weiss was able to finish the race without having to retire.
Yeah, and you said top 20 was a good place to start the season, so
Man, if that was even closer at the finish line, we would have had to pull out the camera and try to figure out who ultimately won it, but there's no question about that one. Bradley
no.
Ream.
Yeah.
Dude, I just want to go back real quick and highlight the moves made on that last lap. First off, the 18 of Chaz Chadwick decided it's like, you're lap traffic and I'm going for the win here. I ain't going to let you hold me back. He drives it in. He doesn't wreck the 74, but he definitely makes contact.
Oh, yeah, it gets way sideways there. Almost looked like he was going to lose it.
And then almost at the exact same time as that happening, we have Bradley Ream gives a nudge right into the rear of the 8 truck here. Man, very subtle, but it definitely upset the balance of that 8 truck.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely tell it upset that truck a little. Just enough.
And at this point, I thought Chadwick had the run. He was making it count when it needed to count the most. He just came up a little bit short and got bested by the rookie today. Man, that 18 truck's going to be strong all year. Really pretty real tree paint scheme there for Bradley Ream as well. And our margin of victory,
I'd say about half a truck length.
0.10. Actually, that didn't even register yet. That's before the that lap even counted. Margin of victory at the finish line, 0.06.
What a finish.
Now I know why. We know exactly why this was one of the highly anticipated starts of the season. They just proved it on track tonight. That we got treated to one hell of a race tonight here at Fontana.
Absolutely. That was one hell of a finish, man.
Going forward now, we got a new winner in the series, Bradley Ream. He's going to take that Dodge Ram and potentially put in the playoffs now that it's locked in. I think.
I'd be, if I were him, if I saw last season, I'd be awfully insecure about holding that spot.
Yeah, well, and like I was talking tonight, I think being in the top 20 is going to be a good start here. So even Atlee, who had a bad start to the season, that 20th is going to go a long way to keeping him in, a good start for the season here.
I'd say it was a good start for our big 3 of last year.
Yeah,
Good start to their redemption arc, so to speak.
all three of them in the top 5, so they're looking to start, pick up where they left off in 2022.
I'd say they're doing a great job of that so far right now.
So yeah, our next race in the truck series will be in exactly 1 week, and that will take place at, just give me 5 seconds, Eldora. So we're going to the dirt track next.
That's it. All right. Before we close out here, who's your pick for next week, sir?
Well, I'm not gonna count Tim Cording out from dominating another track or another dirt track race. I mean, just look at his Chili Bowl outing where he led almost every lap and put everyone laps down until he was the only truck on the lead lap. I'd probably still your pick there, but who do you think?
I I'll say I think that I'm gonna say I'm gonna go Ant Me person.
Yeah, that's a good pick too. Yeah,
I'd say even one of the other two big three.
we'll have to see just how well Beam handles on the dirt next week. Luckily, with the win, he didn't have to worry about pushing harder. But he's gonna have to be well-rounded and get some good starts and finishes at the dirt tracks as well.
Yeah, I think this season's gonna be very interesting to see how it plays out. We got a lot of different styles of track on the calendar this year.
Yeah, so for those of you that are here at the end of this video, next week it'll be a little different as we won't have the duels, but we'll have a uh, qualifier to set the field from 36th on back to 42nd. And as it's been hinted at throughout the broadcast, top 35 are locked into the main events going forward. So that ball spot would be fun to watch too, to see who might drop outside of the top 35. But yeah, looking good so far. The action is intense, and I think it's just more of what we're going to see for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Just before we close out, just want to say congratulations to Bradley Ream on the win today.
Yes, and congrats to all the other drivers that were able to avoid all the wrecks and whatnot. So hopefully next week's race ain't too much of a wreck fest, and I guess we'll see you guys tune in on the next race in the season. Thanks again for everyone that tuned in, and have a wonderful week, and have a good day.